A report from People for the American Way reports the following. As states and school districts work to stem a tide of anti-gay bullying in American schools, a powerful group is out to stop them. The religious right has been leading a concerted effort to stop programs that seek to protect LGBT youth from bullying and to deny that the problem of anti-gay bullying even exists. You can read the report. It's called Big Bullies: How the Religious Right is Trying to Make Schools Safe for Bullies and Dangerous for Gay Kids. It's at pfaw.org, pfaw.org. Just do a search once you get there for Big Bullies. Michael Keegan is president of People for the American Way. He says the religious right is desperately trying to protect bullies and further marginalize gay and gay-perceived kids by stopping efforts to make schools safe for every child. And they've got a number of means by which they accomplish all of this. They claim that anti-bullying policies where you don't stomp little Timmy's testicles until they're 3 times their normal size because the worst, meanest, nastiest thing you can say to him is faggot. Well, that trying to stop that just allows the homosexuals to indoctrinate our children to their sick and twisted lifestyle. Organizations like the American Family Association claim that gay and gay-perceived children are trying to receive special rights. That a a 7th-grade girl in a restroom has no special right not to be beaten by her classmates and called Leslie. Sickest of all, the religious right, or what we call here the religion industry. Well, they want to blame the victim. If it wasn't for the gay rights movement, none of these children would be out there acting like how sick they are is just normal, and nobody'd have to give them the beating Jesus wants them to have. Crucify them, right? You know, you just can't find a lot of spaces anywhere inside the actual synoptic Gospels, or even John, where it talks about Jesus refusing to hang out with someone because of how or whom they loved. It's simply not there. But that's okay. That's okay. Because just as with the rest of their filthy dogma, the church can make it up as it goes along. I remember how wrought our dear friend Peter Godbold would get when confronted with that filthiest of evangelical religion industry rubrics, that we're going to hate the sin but love the sinner. Peter was and is one of the most devout followers of Jesus and practitioners of Christian love and comradeship that I know. And he would become so frustrated because of the notion that some other members of the so-called church would have the nerve to decide that he was a sinner because of how God made him to love. And when I finally heard it explained that way, I had an epiphany, a sudden understanding of how much horror and hate underpins institutional Christianity, of how hard modern followers of Christianity have to work to get around the hate that is the bedrock of their faith. And this isn't just, oh, it's Wednesday, so Bob's going to talk about religion. This is very real. This is a call. Oh, dear, he's preaching. This is a call to eternal vigilance and eternal love. When we're told to love our enemies, I don't think it says that we can't have a little fun at their expense along the way. And since I do not subscribe to Christianity, I have no problem whatsoever in loathing Bill Donahue. I have no problem whatsoever loathing the members of the American Family Association and Focus on the Family and the Family Research Council and all of those filthy, hate-based organizations that prey upon the fears of the otherness of people's fellow human beings. I have no problem whatsoever. Because, you see, this is, after all, April the 20th, isn't it? This, quite possibly more than any other day on the calendar, over the last 100 years, has become the most put-upon day. For some reason, April 20th has had a lot of, well, look. Where were you when you first heard about Columbine? I'll bet you know. I'll bet you were suffused with a feeling of impotent sickness and horror that you could scarcely give breath to. And what was the one thing about Columbine that was most quickly suppressed? While all the little friends of Jeebus headed out to their memorial services for the victims and fond remembrances of lives horrifyingly prematurely ended, what was left by the wayside? What has been effectively buried, especially by the right wing, in any discussion of Columbine? No, not the guns issue. That too, but not nearly as much as this. It is the fact that those two young men had been bullied and tormented past their ability to any longer engage in reason. And there was a ton of evidence. But the evidence has gone down the memory hole amid cries that we can't, you're going to take, the hate crimes law, you're going to take away a minister's right to denounce homosexuality from the pulpit when that's a central tenet of our religious faith. We can't end bullying. If bullying ends, Christianity ends. At least as many people in this country know it. Certainly fundamentalist Christianity ends, and a whole bunch of Roman Catholicism goes too. Because far from being founded on the loving compassion of a poverty-stricken young man in the prime of his life who was murdered by the state, who had filled his life, his work, and his days with nothing. Well, okay, there was some frustration too. Nothing but an attempt to transcend the brutality of his time and find a better way. Just as that was subverted by the rise of the church, so too was the fact that Columbine was bullying blowback was subverted. Some on our side even helped. We focused on guns, when the focus was far more tragic and far more human. A culture that teaches children that it is okay from a very young age to pick out the weak in the herd and ostracize them and torment them and use them, yes, as their Judas goat throughout the time that they are together. And to beat them and flail them and scar them and push them as far as they can possibly be pushed before they, in turn, push back. That is the legacy of the anti-bullying moment